Hey there folks, good evening. My name is Ryan. I wanted to make a quick video about the lost generation. And no, I'm not talking about the iPad generation of Americans. I'm talking about the Chinese lost generation that came of age during the Cultural Revolution, which was basically a decade or two, uh, the decade or two before I was born in the late 70s. Uh, Communism is not beneficial to anybody unless you're the very top of the party. Uh, and one example is the lost generation. So they basically, Mao declared that manners were of the rich. That was a rich, snotty, ruling class thing to have respect for the people around you and to behave in an appropriate way. And so there were no social rules. And so when you see a buffet in China, you see a video on YouTube and you see a bunch of Chinese people at a buffet and they all jump on top of the buffet when the whistle blows and just start throwing as much of the food as they can onto their plates. And they're fighting each other over it and screaming and everything else. That's the lost generation. And you could be having a heart attack or have a broken ankle and be laying on the sidewalk and they'll walk right by you because morals are bad. And this is common in communism. This is one of the negatives of that shitty ideology. And just another reason to be wary of the Democratic Party today, which is actually just communist in disguise, pretending to be liberals. There's nothing liberal about them. They're outright communist. And communism is bad. From the way it makes people treat each other, to the way it collapses your economy and makes everyone poor together, the starvation it causes, the violence it causes, the world wars it causes. Communism is bad. And, I don't want to be mean towards the lost generation. They're a victim of communism as much as they are moralist jerkwads. But their behavior can be inappropriate. And it's because of communism. Communism treats people to treat each other poorly. Narc on your neighbor for wrong think. Send him to the gulag because he might not be all in on the government. And that's really, when it comes down to it, it's the same thing in fascism. Now, fascism claims to have morals. They have better attire. But when it really comes down to it, communism and fascism are authoritarian socialist systems where the whole goal is everything is for the government. It's literally on the Nazi death camps. On top of at least one of them, when you enter, it basically says everything for the government. Oh, and there's another one. It's freedom through work or something like that. Which is pretty sick and twisted at a death camp. But authoritarian socialists believe that humans don't matter. You're just a cog in the machine of the real priority, which is the government. And that doesn't ever lead to anything good. When the people are just pawns in a game of who gets to hold the ring of power, it doesn't end up well. And it's never ended up well. And it's not just China. It's Cuba. It's Venezuela. Laos or Cambodia. Vietnam has had a bad time with communism, although they're doing a little bit better, but that's because they have market reforms, meaning they're a little less communist than they claim to be. They just have the flag and whatnot, the rhetoric, but they have for-profit, Ford-owned factories. So, for Russia, China, communism sucks, and fascism sucks. Authoritarian socialists suck, and they all come from the same place. It's damn near the same thing. The difference is fascism is nationalist, and communism is internationalist. The communists want the party to rule the entire planet. The fascists want their fascist governments to rule each country that they're in. But they all want the government being everything to everybody. The only thing that's important. It's okay to snitch on your neighbors. It's okay to kill people who aren't paying their taxes or who might be challenging the ideas of the state or criticizing the state for not doing a good job clearing the snow. You're an enemy of the state, and that is the worst thing you can be in an authoritarian socialist government, whether it's nationalist or internationalist. Same thing. But communism really did a number on China. And quite frankly, there's a lot of myths about China and what they are as a nation. Everything most people think they know about China is wrong. The Han Chinese have been in power for a very brief period of time in China. America's older than China. All the dynasties, the older dynasties, they were all other cultures. They weren't Han Chinese as we know them. Mongols were one of the empires. One of them was one of the cultures from northeast China that didn't have anything to do with the Han. When you see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that whole era of China, none of those people were Han Chinese. They called themselves China, just like they do now, but it had totally different people, totally different ideas, totally different system than what the Han did with China. Interesting stuff, but so a little bit more on the communism and the fascism thing. A lot of people don't realize, and I highly recommend anyone who is not massively intelligent about fascism and communism, you need to be watching TIK History. It's a channel on YouTube. Awesome. Quality. Shows his sources. He's reading their own words. He tells you where he gets all his information. He explains the nuance involved. And the reality is all the fascist leaders, all the quote-unquote Nazis and the fascists, from Mosley in England, to Mussolini to Hitler, they were all communist. They all led communist, socialist groups, Antifa line groups. They're hardcore leftists. They were when they were communists, they were when they were socialists, and they were when they're Nazis, because fascism is a far left, nationalist, socialist government. This whole, Hitler was a Christian capitalist stuff. Whoever's telling you that, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And if you watch some TIK history, you can listen to the words of the people themselves and the news reports of the time and everything else. You can look, he explains their symbology and everything else. It's the same far leftist bull. So don't let anybody fool you. Not the far right. They're not even right. They're leftist. They're far leftist. They're just nationalist. Nationalist, far leftist. That's a thing. The right, when the left and the right were coined as a dichotomy in politics, the right were what we would call traditional liberals, not the Democrats. They're not liberal, but traditional liberals, libertarians, and you could call ANCAPs, and anarcho-capitalists now, would be considered the actual right. Nazis are leftists. Socialists are leftists. Doesn't matter whether they're nationalist or internationalist. They're all the same bird. It's the same bull. And authoritarian socialism is bad. I don't care if they're goose stepping or killing all the professors and people who wear glasses, because heaven forbid people could read and think about stuff, do science, and who needs that when we could all just be peasant farmers? But anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'd love a like, share, subscribe, comment down below, make a suggestion for another video. I got a Cash App in the description, but it's not a toll booth. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. God bless.